carefully. We're also tracking the Federal Reserve kicking off its two-day meeting. That starts today. And the big question, of course, is whether the Fed will make a decision to cut interest rates again. So let's talk about this with our money expert, CBS News MoneyWatch correspondent Kelly O'Grady in New York. Always good to see you, Kelly. So what are you expecting out of this Fed meeting?
So I just looked at the odds. We are looking at a 98% chance that investors are baking in that we are going to get a quarter-point rate cut tomorrow. Now, I think the biggest thing, sort of so what coming out of the meeting is not going to be whether the Fed cuts interest rates, but it's going to be in the press conference afterwards when we're going to be able to hear from Fed Chair Jerome Powell. And there are a couple of things that I'm looking for. One, how much of an impact is this government shutdown and the lack of the traditional data that they are used to using in order to inform those decisions? How much did it play in this particular one, but also going forward? Because remember, we've been shut down for a number of weeks. They haven't been able to gather data that they would utilize going forward for making future interest rate decisions. So that's one thing. The second thing is, what's the bigger concern? The fact that inflation continues to tick up, or some of the weakness that we've seen in the labor market? And then finally, we don't get specifics this time around about where, or rather how many cuts the Fed expects through the rest of the year and next year as well. But we will get to see the split in terms of who voted for a rate cut, who voted against it. And so I think that dynamic will be really interesting, because last time around, we saw that the Fed was pretty divided in how to handle interest rates going forward.
That's sure to be a headline. Also, there's a headline I wanted to ask you about today, Kelly, and that's Amazon making it very clear that they're going to cut 14,000 jobs. But you have some pretty important perspective and context on who this will affect, who it won't affect. And also, I'm pretty fascinated about your thoughts about how AI could impact our future and how this could be sort of a calling card about that.
So whenever you hear layoffs, especially something of that magnitude, 14,000, it's never good. But this is also happening at the same time that Amazon is adding 250,000 holiday seasonal workers. So this by no means does it mean that Amazon is in trouble or that consumers aren't spending. Amazon came out today and said, look, this is coming from the corporate area. They say that they have too many layers of bureaucracy and they want to get rid of some of that and then invest some of those resources into areas that they see as growth platforms for them. So think artificial intelligence. I went to, I think actually some of the video that's on the screen right now, one of the most technologically advanced Amazon warehouses in the country. And they told me that yes, AI, artificial intelligence, automation, it's going to take some jobs, but it's also going to create new opportunities that didn't exist before. So Reed, to your point of what does this mean for the overall job market and what AI might do, this is sort of a watershed moment where you are seeing companies like Amazon, like others come out, and those corporate roles, those roles that could be impacted by AI, I think this is just the beginning of the iceberg, but the hope is that that does create new opportunities that we'll need to upskill for, but that will be available in the future.
Important reporting, Kelly O'Grady, not only giving us all of that data, but going to where the sausage is made, so to speak. Thank you so much. Good to talk to you, friend.